parks and lined the streets of London for a chance to catch a glimpse of the royal couple. But
2 billion people, including us, will be watching Kate Middleton as she heads toward her wedding. But we wonder.
And then, when the moment is right, the signal will be given, and here they come.
A little while ago, we know William is with Prince Charles tonight and Harry, just the boys, Camilla not coming home, and Kate with her family.
12 hours after last night's visit, Kate Middleton was on her way back to Westminster Abbey.
Prince William and Kate Middleton tied the knot? Well, since their royal wedding, Will and Kate have welcomed 3 kids, George, Charlotte, and Louis.
Let's hear the reaction. How incredible!
It was always going to be a day like no other. A royal event to heal the fissures of the past. And
Tourists from around the world have been telling you more than 1 million people are expected to line the streets on Friday, while helping to lead a lot of that invasion.
From the U.S., so much so that the British could probably use their own Paul Revere this week to warn the Americans are coming.
Carol and I are absolutely delighted by today's announcement and thrilled at the prospect of a wedding sometime next year.
And at a British pub in Los Angeles, they celebrated with a theme.
Pajamas and tiaras.
Carriage. So I'm going to take her route in my own slightly less elegant car. Gathered for centuries to watch British ceremonies will be standing behind those who are gathered for her today.
Honeymoon? For Kate, that change is coming too. She'll never have her own job. Being a princess will be her.
April 29, 2011, Westminster Abbey. William and Catherine step into the 1902 State Landau, the same open-topped carriage that carried Charles and Diana away from their own wedding 30 years earlier. Royal biographer Tina Brown says the Queen was overjoyed that day, turning to Prince Philip and calling the whole thing really excellent. But moments before that carriage pulled away from the Abbey, the Queen turned to someone else standing beside her and said something that never made the official record, never made a single headline that day, something only surfaced years later, buried in 4 seconds of silent footage. And once you know what it was, you watch that entire procession differently. Subscribe to Royal Archives for more. By 2011, this wasn't a repeat of Charles and Diana's wedding, and Tina Brown, in her book The Palace Papers, makes that distinction the center of her account. Catherine was 29 years old when she married William after nearly a decade together. Diana had been 20, married after a courtship measured in months, not years. Brown writes that the Queen took a special satisfaction in that contrast, that this new granddaughter-in-law was, in her words, road-tested in resilience, not a girl thrown headfirst into a role she barely understood. It's why Brown says the Queen turned to Philip after the ceremony and called the whole day really excellent. On paper, this was the wedding the family had needed since 1981, but being satisfied with the marriage didn't mean the Queen was satisfied with every single detail of the day itself. And that starts with the carriage. William and Catherine's choice of the 1902 State Landau was reportedly a weather call, not a sentimental one. The Daily Mail reported the couple kept the fully enclosed glass coach on standby that morning, ready to swap in if the skies opened up over London. It didn't rain. So the open carriage, crimson satin, gilded door panels stamped with the royal arms, built originally for Edward VII's 1902 coronation, carried them out through the gates instead, exactly as planned. That carriage is the image most people remember from that entire day. It's the one still used in documentaries and anniversary specials, in every retrospective about the wedding that reset the monarchy's image. But as William and Catherine climbed in and the crowd along the Mall began to roar, the Queen wasn't watching the carriage the way everyone else in that courtyard was. She turned to Camilla, then Duchess of Cornwall, standing just beside her. And her lips moved. No microphone caught it. No court correspondent transcribed it. It sat there, unexamined, in silent archival footage for over a decade. Then CBS News brought in professional lip reader Tina Lannin to go back through that footage frame by frame. The same technique used to decode royal exchanges at funerals, jubilees, and balcony appearances where no audio exists. Lannin's read was specific, and It wasn't about the couple at all. It was about the carriage. I wanted them to take the smaller carriage, Lannin determined, the Queen said, watching William and Catherine roll away. Camilla, ever diplomatic, didn't offer her own opinion on the matter. Lannin's reading has her simply replying, "It all went very well," and leaving it there. So which carriage did the Queen actually want instead? That part was never confirmed. It's simply the one detail from that entire day that slipped past her. The one thing this famously precise, famously controlled monarch didn't get to decide. And that's what makes it worth sitting with for a moment. This is a woman who, by every account Tina Brown documents in the palace papers, controlled the emotional temperature of that entire wedding, right down to noticing the exact difference a decade of dating made in her own grandson's choice of bride, a woman who called the ceremony excellent without a moment's hesitation, who felt, in Brown's words, a special satisfaction watching it unfold. And yet the one thing she apparently couldn't secure was the size of a carriage. Not the guest list, not the vows, not the tiara Catherine wore down the aisle. The actual physical vehicle carrying the future king and his new wife past 1 million people lining the streets of London. It's a small thing on its own. But it's also exactly the kind of small thing that tells you where a monarch's real attention was that day. Not on the spectacle everyone else was watching, but on the logistics sitting underneath it. And here's the turn. None of it changed her overall verdict. Whatever carriage she actually wanted instead, whatever Camilla heard in that fraction of a second outside the Abbey, Tina Brown's own account of that same day still ends with the Queen turning to Philip afterward, satisfied, telling him it went really excellent. The carriage comment never became a complaint. It never became a story the Queen told again, never surfaced in any of her later remarks about the wedding. It only came to light because a lip reader, years afterward, caught 4 seconds of footage nobody else had thought to go back and examine closely. Compare that to what Brown says the day actually meant to the Queen as a whole. A granddaughter-in-law who was finally visibly ready for the role. A marriage built on nearly a decade together instead of a single summer. A family that had, at last, gotten the wedding day it needed after the trauma of 1981. Set against that, one unmet preference about carriage size barely registers. The carriage was a preference. The relief in that Abbey was real, and it's the relief that won out. That's the whole picture, and it only comes together when you put both women's accounts side by side. Tina Brown's reporting tells you what the Queen felt about that wedding as a whole. Genuine documented satisfaction, captured in her own words to Philip. Tina Lannin's lip reading tells you the one detail that slipped past even her. A smaller carriage she wanted and never got. Both things are true at exactly the same moment. The Queen can call a day excellent and still privately wish for something as small as a different set of wheels rolling out of that courtyard. That's not a contradiction in the record. That's what 70 years of watching every detail of every ceremony actually looks like up close. Noticing the one thing that didn't go your way, even on the one day you got almost everything else you wanted. What the Queen never said publicly is whether she ever raised the carriage again, with William, with Catherine, or with anyone else in the family. If Meghan and Harry's wedding 7 years later is any indication, the carriage question only got more scrutinized after this one, not less. Subscribe to Royal Archives and we'll show you exactly what changed.